You lie awake long after the world has gone silent. The room is dark, but your mind is lit up. An endless carousel of thought. You replay conversations, rewrite what you said, imagine what you should have said, and create entire worlds of what-ifs that never existed. Hours pass, nothing changes, only the mind keeps spinning. If you're interested in understanding how the mind really works, subscribe and join us for weekly insights. This is the quiet torment of overthinking, an invisible storm disguised as intelligence, as responsibility, as care. It begins softly, almost innocently. You want to understand. You want to prevent mistakes. You want to make the right choice. But slowly, thought becomes a cage made of its own echoes. Every human mind does this sometimes, but for some, thinking becomes a compulsion, the mind trying to protect itself by never resting. It's the brain's version of pacing the floor at night, guarding the door against dangers that never come. Overthinking isn't madness. It's fear wearing reason's mask. It tells you, if I could just analyze enough, I'll be safe. But the truth is, thought cannot secure the heart. It can only describe what the heart already feels. Modern psychology calls it rumination, the constant chewing of the same thought until it loses all meaning. Neuroscience traces it to a network in the brain called the default mode network, the system that activates when we rest. Instead of silence, it reviews the past and predicts the future. That's how the mind protects us from pain. It relives it in advance. But Jung once wrote that the mind that looks too long into the abyss begins to seed the abyss within itself. That is the curse of overthinking, seeing everything so clearly that clarity becomes confusion. When awareness has no pause, it turns on itself. For many, this pattern begins in childhood. A child who feels unsafe learns that constant vigilance keeps trouble away. They become the sensitive observer, the one who notices moods before they shift, who reads tone before words. That hyper-awareness becomes intelligence in school, empathy in adulthood, and anxiety in silence. Because when the world finally calms down, the watcher inside them doesn't know how to stop watching. It searches for problems even in peace. It mistakes calm for emptiness, and emptiness feels like danger. So the mind fills it with questions, scenarios, and self-criticism. It whispers, "Think a little longer. Maybe then you'll feel safe." But safety never arrives through logic. It arrives through surrender. And surrender feels unnatural to the overthinker. Over time, this pattern rewires the body. The nervous system learns that silence means threat. Adrenaline flickers even during rest. You sit in a cafe, smiling, but inside, a quiet hum of tension remains, like a computer fan that never shuts off. You're not tired because of what you've done. You're tired because you never stop doing things inside your head. In relationships, overthinking builds invisible distance. You analyze every text, every tone, every pause. You read subtext that isn't there. You rewrite conversations to make them fair. You build entire emotional equations out of things that never happened. The other person feels your tension but doesn't understand its source. They sense your presence, yet your mind is elsewhere, half in memory, half in prediction. Overthinking makes love conditional. You love but cautiously. You trust, but with analysis. You care, but with contingency plans. And slowly, the heart suffocates under the weight of preparation. Psychologists sometimes call this intolerance of uncertainty. It's the need to solve life before living it. But life refuses to be solved. It can only be experienced. So the overthinker lives in rehearsal, always almost living, almost choosing, almost resting. There's a paradox here. Overthinkers often appear calm and reflective, even wise. To the outside world, they seem composed. But inside, their thoughts are sprinting, one fear chasing another in perfect circles. Their calm is not peace, it's control, and control is exhausting. If you could watch the mind in those moments, you'd see layers of dialogue. What did they mean by that? Did I sound cold? Why can't I stop thinking about this? Each question spawns another, like branches from an infinite tree. And at the root of that tree is a single belief. I must understand everything to be okay. Yet what if the truth is the opposite? What if peace begins where understanding ends? As mindfulness teaches, thinking is not the enemy. Identification is. When you believe every thought, you drown in them. When you observe them, they pass like clouds across the sky of awareness. The sky never fights the storm, it allows it. Overthinking is the storm. Awareness is the sky. Learning to tell the difference is the beginning of freedom. The human brain was designed for survival, not serenity. Thousands of years ago, the ones who worried were the ones who lived. They noticed the rustle in the grass, the shadow that moved differently, the pattern that might mean danger. That vigilance encoded deep in the nervous system is still with us. Only the tigers change their shape. Today, the threats are emotional, social, imagined. A message left on read, an interview tomorrow, the memory of a mistake 5 years ago. The brain reacts to each as if it were a predator, and thought becomes its weapon. Analyze, predict, prepare, repeat. The problem is that modern life never stops offering stimuli. The mind built for short bursts of alertness stays locked in permanent readiness. It loops through what-ifs, each one a spark that reignites the same circuit. Neurons fire, adrenaline trickles, the body braces. You're safe, yet you feel endangered. To the overthinker, silence is not peace. It is suspense. The absence of noise feels like the moment before something goes wrong. So the brain creates its own noise to fill the gap. It keeps thinking because thinking feels like doing, and doing feels like control. But control in this form is a mirage. The more you analyze, the more variables appear. Every answer breeds another question. Soon, thought is no longer a tool. It's a labyrinth. You pace the corridors looking for an exit, forgetting you built the walls yourself. Therapists sometimes describe overthinking as a form of mental checking, like repeatedly touching a locked door to make sure it's secure. Each thought is a hand reaching for certainty that never comes. Because certainty is not an external object, it's an internal decision. Cognitive behavioral therapy teaches that thoughts are hypotheses, not facts, but the overactive mind treats them as prophecies. I failed once becomes I will always fail. She didn't answer becomes she doesn't care. The imagination confuses possibility with proof. Mindfulness offers a different lens. Notice a thought, name it, let it pass. Not suppression, observation, like watching a bird land on a branch and then fly away. No need to chase it, no need to cage it. Awareness without interference slowly rewires the brain's threat response. Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity. Each time you notice instead of react, a new neural path forms. You teach the body that calm is safe again. Over time, the hum quiets. Space returns between thought and self. Jung might have said this is the moment the unconscious learns trust. For years, it served you with hyper-vigilance, believing danger was everywhere. Now you teach that not every shadow means harm. This is not denial, it's integration, the mind learning to live in daylight. Overthinking also feeds on perfectionism, the belief that enough analysis will create a flawless outcome. But perfectionism is only fear dressed in high standards. It whispers that mistakes are fatal, that uncertainty equals failure, and so you prepare endlessly instead of beginning. Every creative person knows this trap. The artist who revises forever, the writer who polishes one paragraph until the story dies, the thinker who never decides because every choice could be wrong. Behind each is the same wound. If I act imperfectly, I will not be loved. Yet the universe favors motion over precision. Life does not reward the one who calculates forever, but the one who dares while still unsure. It is better to step clumsily into truth than elegantly circle around it. When thought becomes a cage, movement is the key. Even a small action, walking, breathing consciously, writing down the loop instead of living inside it, breaks the trance. Action grounds imagination in the body, and the body lives in the present. Still, the overthinker resists. They fear that if they stop thinking, everything will fall apart. But the opposite is true. It's the endless analysis that erodes structure, the way waves wear stone. Pause for a moment. Feel your breath move without your permission. The body knows how to live without your constant instruction. So does the mind, once you let it. There is a quiet exhaustion that follows years of overthinking. It isn't the tiredness of effort, but of endless readiness. You wake already tense, heart slightly faster than it should be, lungs shallow. The day hasn't begun, but your mind is already halfway through it, forecasting, planning, bracing. Psychologists call it cognitive fatigue. Your mental circuits never fully reset, so your energy leaks slowly all day. It feels like walking through water, every small decision weighted with analysis, every simple choice treated like a verdict. You may notice your body tightening when you start to think too much. The jaw clenched, shoulders raised, stomach constricted. The mind speaks through muscle before words form. Overthinking isn't just mental, it's physical. Each loop signals the body to prepare for threat, and the body obeys. And yet, no threat comes. So tension has nowhere to go. It turns inward. That's why overthinking often lives beside headaches, insomnia, or fatigue. The mind that never rests teaches the body that rest is unsafe. In relationships, overthinking quietly builds distance. You try to anticipate what others feel before they speak. You imagine every version of their reaction and edit yourself accordingly. Soon you're no longer present. You're performing safety. People sense the disconnect but don't understand it. They feel the analysis behind every sentence, the invisible measuring of words. Over time, this creates loneliness, not because you lack company, but because you're too busy interpreting connection to actually feel it. Your mind becomes the middleman between you and the world, filtering every experience through a lens of caution. This caution can look like sensitivity, but it's really self-protection refined into art. You overthink because you care. You care so deeply that uncertainty feels unbearable. So you build systems of prediction, as if empathy could replace control. But empathy without boundaries turns into absorption. You feel everything, everyone. And when you carry too much of the world, Your own self becomes faint. You forget that compassion must include you, or it collapses. This is where self-compassion enters, not as indulgence, but as survival. When the mind spirals, pause and say softly, "I'm allowed not to solve this right now." That one sentence interrupts the ancient reflex of vigilance. Self-compassion isn't denial of thought. It's permission to rest from it. It's telling the nervous system, you are safe, even in uncertainty. Each repetition builds a new internal tone, gentle instead of critical. Over time, that tone becomes the environment in which thought arises. And in a kind environment, thoughts soften. Therapists often teach grounding techniques for this reason. When the mind loops, shift awareness to the body. Notice the pressure of your feet, the rhythm of breath, the sound nearest to you. These are small doorways back to presence, and presence is the one place overthinking cannot follow. The irony is that the more we try to control life, the more chaotic it feels. But when we allow life to move, even awkwardly, the pattern loosens. The heart begins to trust again. Trust that what's meant to stay will stay, and what's meant to leave will go. Philosophers have written about this surrender for centuries. Lao Tzu called it Wu Wei, effortless action, to act without forcing, to flow without fear. Overthinking is the opposite, forcing without flow. It's the belief that peace must be achieved through control, when in truth, control is the enemy of peace. If you pause and look closely, you'll notice that most of your overthinking isn't about the past or future. It's about yourself. Why did I say that? What's wrong with me? What if I fail again? Underneath every loop lies self-criticism disguised as preparation. The inner voice that fuels it is rarely kind. It sounds rational, but it speaks from fear. The overthinker's mind is full of self-interrogation, but starved of self-acceptance. And no amount of thought can heal what only kindness can reach. Self-acceptance does not mean passivity. It means acknowledging that your worth was never conditional on perfect performance. When you see this clearly, thought loses its sharpness. You can still plan, reflect, learn, but you no longer bleed for every mistake. This clarity changes relationships too. You stop needing to be understood by everyone and start valuing those who bring calm instead of complexity. You learn that silence shared with someone safe is richer than endless words with someone who listens only to reply. Peace is not found through thinking better, but through thinking less often. And when thought does come, letting it be what it is, just thought, not prophecy, not punishment, not truth carved in stone. Overthinking built from fear can dissolve only in gentleness. The same way a knot unties not by force, but by patience. Slowly, breath by breath, the mind learns it can rest without falling apart. Eventually, every overthinker reaches a threshold. The moment when analysis no longer protects, it only repeats. You realize that the mind isn't solving your pain, it's rehearsing it. And something inside you whispers, there must be another way. That whisper is awareness trying to come home. It doesn't argue with thought, it observes it. Awareness is older than thinking. It's the part of you that notices without judging, that can hold fear and curiosity in the same breath. When you start living from awareness instead of thought, you don't stop thinking. You simply stop believing every thought. You recognize each as a passing visitor. Some are useful. Most are echoes. None are you. This is what meditation truly is. Not quieting the mind, but remembering that you are not the noise. You are the space in which it happens. In that space, overthinking loses its power. Thoughts still arrive, the same worries, the same memories, but they pass like birds across the evening sky. You don't chase them, you don't cage them, you let them move. And in letting them move, you begin to move too. Out of paralysis, out of fear, back into life. Awareness doesn't eliminate thought, it transforms its relationship with you. When you become the observer instead of the prisoner, thinking returns to its rightful place, a tool, not a torment. This shift isn't sudden. It happens slowly, through small acts of allowance, breathing before responding, noticing tension before solving it, letting silence stay a little longer than comfort allows. Each pause teaches the mind that stillness is safe. Modern neuroscience confirms this ancient truth. When we observe our thoughts with calm curiosity, the amygdala, the brain's alarm system, quiets down. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for insight, lights up instead. In other words, awareness literally rewires fear into understanding. The practice doesn't make you thoughtless. It makes you thoughtful in a different way. You begin to think from peace, not toward it. Decisions come with less noise. Conversations carry more presence. Even pain feels cleaner, no longer tangled in prediction or blame. Some days, the old patterns return. That's part of healing. The mind is a creature of habit. It circles the familiar. But now you know that a thought repeating itself isn't a command, it's a memory. You can greet it gently, "Are you again?" and then go on with your day. This gentleness is the quiet revolution. The world teaches us to fix, to fight, to improve. But awareness teaches us to see. And in seeing clearly, we discover that the storm was never the enemy. It was a messenger. It was showing us where we were still afraid, where we still believed control equaled safety, where we mistook vigilance for love. Once you understand the messenger can rest. Overthinking fades not because life becomes simpler, but because you stop demanding certainty from it. You start trusting the flow again, not because it's predictable, but because it's alive. This is where the curse turns into a gift. The same mind that once imprisoned you can now serve as your greatest ally, a tool for creativity, for empathy, for insight. The overthinker sees connections others miss. They feel deeply, notice detail, sense undercurrents. When guided by awareness instead of fear, these same traits become intuition instead of anxiety, wisdom instead of worry. To think deeply is not a flaw. It only becomes suffering when depth forgets to surface for air. Now, you know how to return. Whenever the mind begins to spiral, pause, breathe, ask quietly, is this thought helping or just repeating? If it's just repeating, thank it and let it pass. The point is not to win against thought, but to remember you were never trapped inside it. In time, the habit of peace grows stronger than the habit of fear, and you wake one morning to find the silence no longer threatening, but kind. The same mind that once raced for safety now rests in trust. You look around, and the world hasn't changed. The bills, the work, the uncertainty all remain, but the weight is gone, because the noise has meaning now, and you know where to find quiet in the middle of it. So when you catch yourself drifting into the labyrinth again, don't fight it. Smile and remember, you built these walls once and you can open them again. Every overthinker carries a deep longing underneath all the noise, a longing for stillness, for relief, for permission to simply be. You have that permission now. The mind will still whisper, but you don't have to answer every call. Let life be a little uncertain. Let silence stay a little longer. Let thought come and let it go. Because peace was never the absence of thought. It was the space that held them all along. Thank you for listening. If this brought you peace or clarity, leave a like, share it, or subscribe for more. Take care of your mind, and it will take care of you.